Yeah, sure. Public television, real artistic, real artsy, craftsy stuff, edifying the public, right? Yeah, that's what we thought. I don't think so. See, Teller and I are a couple of sensationalist circus schlock hacks. We were asked to do a special for public television. We were real excited. We said we're going to rise to the occasion. We're going to do some real art stuff, right? So it was great. I was going to open with a poetry reading, and Teller, who doesn't speak in the show, was going to do a mime piece called The Birth of a Baby Dove in the Ghetto. It's beautiful stuff, really nice, pretty, very carefully done stuff. And they said, no, these are the people at public TV, right? They say, no, that stuff's too boring. And if we want to do a show, we have to open with something more exciting. More exciting. The people that do masterpiece theater in the evening of the symphony want us to be more exciting. So we've compromised. We have here a straitjacket. I'd like you to stand up, please, in time for this straitjacket. There's 4 buckles right across the back. Patty Kunkel is the producer of this show. We came to her with this beautiful, beautiful script with a poetry reading at the beginning, and she said, no, it wouldn't hold their attention. I'm saying, this is what they do Mr. Rogers on this network. They don't have to hold attention. And she says, no, we got to do something else. Just get all the buckles there. We got to do something else. And Cordelia Stone, she's our director. She said she wanted something a little bit more exciting. That's where they put it. They don't put it cheap. Put it through the loop over there, and then pull these 2 arms together, okay? The more you can hurt them, the more pledged dollars you'll get for public TV, okay? Tighten up real good, okay? Really good, okay? You just let me help you here. Just really tug. There you go. Just put that in there. Right over here. I couldn't believe it. See, we watched Masterpiece Theater. We start Night of the Symphony. Let me do this one, Teller, because a dog shouldn't have to. Yeah, get this one right out of the way. We watched these things. We thought the kind of stuff they wanted was like poetry reading, and they said no. They wanted something a little bit more razzle-dazzle and exciting, so we came up with this. And it is, watch it, Teller. It is a bit of a compromise. Is that okay? And I just want you to know that all this stuff, the gravity boots, the whole rigging, the pulleys, the thing coming across to my chair, that's public TV's idea. That's not mine. I am going to open with a poetry reading, but see, public TV, when they think of magic, they think of some greasy guy in a tux with a lot of birds or some aging hippie shoving women into boxes, and they don't seem to understand that there are other kinds of magic. I'm referring, of course, to the magic of poetry, and indeed all the fine arts. And we are going to open our show with a poetry reading, and I think that even though you might have been expecting something a bit more sensational, that I read this poem well enough that you will hang on my every word, and when I jump from the seat I'm seated in to take my final bow, I am sure you'll be suitably impressed. Ernest Lawrence Thayer. Not a very famous name, but that man wrote perhaps the most famous American poem. He was a journalist in San Francisco, and this poem first appeared in the San Francisco Examiner Sunday morning, June 3rd, 1888. The poem is entitled Casey at the Bat. It is subtitled A Ballad of the Republic, sung in the year 1888. And I shall be reading Casey at the Bat for you this evening in exactly 2 minutes and 16 seconds, after which I will jump to my feet and take my final bow. Casey at the Bat. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 4-2 with but 1 inning left to play. So when Cooney died at first and Barrows did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game. A straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to that hope which springs eternal in the human breast. For they thought if only Casey could get a whack at that, they'd put even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake. The former was a Lulu, and the latter was a cake. So on that stricken multitude, grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey getting to the bat. But Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off that ball. And when the dust had lifted and men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy, safe at second. Old Flynn was hugging third. Then from 5,000 throats or more, there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled in the valley, it rattled in the dell, it knocked upon the mountain and then recoiled across the flat. For Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt it was Casey at the bat. 1,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 4,000 tongues applauded when he wiped him on his shirt. Then while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance gleamed in Casey's eye, a sneer to Casey's lip. And now the leather covered sphere comes hurtling through the air, and Casey stood there watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball in heated sped. Ain't my style, said Casey. Struck one, the umpire said. For the benches black with people, there went up a muffled roar like the beating of a storm waves on a stern and distant shore. Kill him! Kill the umpire! Shouted someone in the stand, and it's likely they'd have killed him. And not Casey raised his hand. With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey's vision shone. He stilled the rising tumult. He made the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the sphere flow. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, strike two. Frog around the man, thousand, the eagle, and go. Still looked Casey, the audience was off. So he should have gone almost straight. Through the Casey, middle of the ball, by again. She's going to get him to the 8 pounds. This girl by the battle of play. Now patrol's ball, let it go. Now the air shut above first game blow. So the sphere lands 135 minutes, somewhere, some heart to life. Some middle eye, get someone to the shot. In the drawing, the mighty Casey has struck out.
Live from the heart of Hollywood, the show business capital of the world, it's Penn and Teller.
Go public?